Hey, this is John from Alloy 211. Today's video is on the Japanese Arisaka rifle and the Type 30 bayonet. The Arisaka rifle was originally put into production in 1897. It went through several different iterations. The two most common that are encountered in the United States are the Type 38 in 6.5 by 50 and the Type 99 in 7.7 by 58 millimeter. The 7.7 by 58 being roughly the same power as a 308 or so. Many thousands of Arisaka rifles were brought back after World War II by servicemen as war trophies. Generally, the ones that were brought back by servicemen maintain the chrysanthemum, which is right here, and on this rifle it's been obliterated. And I'll show you that up close here in a moment. This particular Type 99 was produced, I believe, is the Series 20. It's kind of hard to read the little character on the side by the serial number, which again I'll show you in a moment. But I believe it's produced in 1939 at the, and I'm probably going to pronounce this wrong, Kukarua Arsenal, Kukarua Arsenal. And as you can tell, it's an early, well, pre-United States entering World War II with the Japanese. I mean, the Japanese were already at war by 1939, just not with the United States at that point yet. So if you look at it, you can tell it exhibits early war or early production where it's finely machined. The safety on the end of the bolt has the knurling. The buttstock has the metal cap on it. Get up close here, kind of shift my light so you can see that chrysanthemum, maybe. There you go. Now you can kind of see how it's been obliterated there. And as you can see here, here's the code for the rifle. That character over here is type, and these two characters are 9. So 99 type. And let's see if we can get this other side to show up. A little bit. You can see there is the arsenal, and there is the series number or series character, which is kind of hard to see, and there is the serial number. Here you can see the cutout for the dust cover, the dust shield, which this one is missing. It's also missing the monopod, which would be attached up here, which is pretty common to find these missing, those pieces. A lot of times they just got left before they were brought back. So it does, however, maintain the, which I think is really cool. Oh, get this one all the way down. It does maintain the anti-aircraft sight. So that's neat. I don't know how you're going to shoot an aircraft with a bolt action rifle, but yeah, more power to you if you can hit it. And especially even with the 7.7's increased power over the 6.5, I don't think that you're really going to be hitting an aircraft very well with one of these. Let's go to the muzzle end here. It's got a metal cap screwed around the wood forend in the barrel. And I thought this was really neat. It's got a push button for pulling the cleaning rod out. Cleaning rod is threaded on the end, but it doesn't actually thread in. It just is retained by that button. See, push it in, that button right there. I'll get it up closer in a second. Right there, see that button and cleaning rod. There's the, try to get the front sight so you can see it. Oh, there we go. And the muzzle. Straight bolt handle. And I really like the safety on this, and I'll get into this in a second. It's just a push in and turn up, and now it's on safe. Push in, turn back, it's now ready to fire. It's also a cock on close, so that last bit of turning the bolt in is a little more difficult. It also has a last round follower block, so you can't close the bolt on an empty magazine. It's got a bolt or a magazine cover release similar to a Mauser, although the Mauser is a push button, but it's Generally the same construction. I'm not going to pull it all the way out. But it's got a little nice lever right there for that. So that's pretty cool. Now, the Arisaka shares a couple similarities actually with the K98. I thought I'd go ahead and pull the K98K up here so you could kind of see a little bit of the similarities. Although the K98 is a cock, let's get the safety there, on open, and the Arisaka is a cock on close. But if you go ahead and pull the bolt out, which as you can see, similar to a Mauser, it's got a lever right here for removing the bolt. Pull the bolt out. Let's try to get it all the way out. There we go. Set that there, set the bolt there. Go ahead and pull the bolt out of the Mauser here. Ow. And dink my finger with it. There we go. Now as you can see, the bolts are very similar. They both have a long extractor, a separate bolt head. This has a little auxiliary lug here. But otherwise they're, pardon me, they're very similar in construction. Jiminy. So you can tell that there were some cues taken when the Arisaka was originally developed from the Mauser, which makes sense. It was the premier bolt action rifle at the time and really is a great rifle, although the 98 not having been quite developed yet. But so go ahead and lock that down. I do really like the safety on the Arisaka better than the flag safety. I don't really care for this flag safety on the Mauser, so there's that. But otherwise, that's a similarity. A couple similarities between the two. Just set that off to the side. Now, the bolt does appear to match this rifle. The extractor does not. But that's still, I mean, it's a relatively numbers matching rifle from what I could tell from taking it apart. And it's in pretty good condition. It's got some light rust, but I pulled the handguard off earlier. I'm not going to pull it off now. But there was no rust on the barrel underneath there, and it maintains most of its bluing. So it's really in pretty good shape. Stock's a little beat up, as you can see, but not bad. It's got a little chip there. But again, the metalwork is in pretty good shape. So it's an interesting early war Arisaka. When I was looking at in value on these things, they kind of went from like in poorer shape than this one, but as a shooter for like $2.99, and then ones like this with like a reproduction sling and a reproduction monopod and a reproduction dust cover around say $500, $450, and then other really fine examples of this rifle over $1,000. And there are a lot of different intricacies to these rifles, so that's just kind of a general spread of value, and should be no way necessarily indicative of the value of what you may have, because that could be something really rare and really valuable. But this being an early war, the bayonet, this bayonet is a late war. Now originally the Type 30 bayonet was developed and introduced in 1897, generally 20 inches overall. There are 18 distinct patterns of this bayonet, but they generally fall into three categories. One with a quillion, where the pommel comes, or the handguard comes down and hooks. Then another that's got the straight hilt and a rounded pommel. And pardon me, let me get a drink real quick. Anyway, back to the bayonet and a rounded pommel. This one is a late war with a straight cross hilt that is contoured and a squared pommel. It also has a blued, is actually originally a blued, which I don't know if you can see that. It's kind of hard to see in the light's kind of glaring it out. But as you can kind of see here, it was originally blued without a tang. So in looking this up, This would have been made at the Nagoya Arsenal. Oh, not made by the Nagoya Arsenal, actually, sorry. It's made by another name I'm going to probably butcher. Toinada Automated Loom Works under the supervision of Nagoya Arsenal. And you can tell that by the marks. Let's see if we can get the light on it better. These two marks right here, this being the Arsenal mark, the one on the right, and then on the left being the mark for the Toyanda Automated Loom Works. But this was a late war bayonet. It does have the sheath, or the scabbard. It's actually in pretty good shape, other than the fact it's missing all of its bluing, but the handle's not beat up. It is still functional. The sheath is also in good shape. I found it kind of interesting. I saw these online between $150 and $250, and then some of them quite a bit more than that, depending on different variations. Like this, down to the variations of this, I mean, they list variations for a screwed handle, for a riveted handle, for a non-contoured where it's just a straight square cross hilt, you know, the rounded pommel, and then non-contoured handles. So I mean, there's really quite a variety. But even though this is a late war bayonet, this is an early war, let's try to put it on the right thing, Arisaka, the bayonet does still fit onto the rifle and function. And as I've said before with bayonets on rifles, they're really cool, but you always need to be careful with it. So I mean, the rifle was interesting, and I'm really glad that I got to borrow it, but I really found this bayonet more interesting, just given that there's quite a bit of variety. It's made by an outside the arsenal source. It doesn't have the tang. It was originally blued. I was really surprised to find that out. I didn't really notice that until I was doing my research on it, and it's like, oh yeah, that was blued. I thought it had been white. So, pretty cool bayonet overall. Pretty cool rifle overall. I'm glad to have been able to look at them. Let me think if there's anything else that I wanted to say. No, not that I can think of. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you found it informative. I thought this was a neat rifle, and it's in pretty good shape, and I thought this bayonet was really cool. So if you enjoyed the video, enjoyed the content, if you found it interesting or informative, go ahead and hit the like button. If you like this sort of video and you maybe would like to see more, check out some of my other videos on other guns, and maybe you'll enjoy those too. And I hope to see you back. Thanks, and have a good day. Bye.